Okay, so Indian agency owners are some of the most technically skilled people I have ever worked with. But they are also some of the worst closers I have ever seen. You can run the ads, you can build the funnel, you can deliver results Western competitors can't even touch. But the moment a client asks how much, you totally freeze, you justify, you discount before they even push back. And I was doing the same thing. In fact, many Indian freelancers are doing the same thing. Have a look at Pratyush. He was selling $300 gigs, endless delivery, zero leverage. He changed one thing about how he sold, and the next deal, he made $6,000 plus a revenue share that could take him to tens of thousands of dollars every single month. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to quote $3,000 to $5,000 retainers to Western clients without feeling pushy, without discounting, without losing the close, even if you have an accent. And I will also show you how AI plus one mindset shift lets you walk into those calls with evidence instead of hope. See those notes. I have Indian roots. I built my agency in Europe, 75 million euros for my clients, 14 million for myself, for my own agency. I have surrounded myself with the best in the world. Alex and Ella Hormozi, Eddie Malouf, Iman Ghazi, Ashton Shanks, Serge Gattari, and everything I know, you're gonna get it for free right on this channel. So the first thing I want to cover in this video is what I call the delivery trap. If you feel stuck below $3,000 a month, this is exactly why. The problem was never the work, it was the mindset behind the price. And here's what nobody in the Indian agency space says honestly. Everything you were trained by, the education system, the corporate ladder, the freelance platforms, they all reward one thing: delivery. Do the work, do it well, do it on time, get a good review, move to the next project. And that's employee thinking. And it's the most expensive habit you can bring into agency ownership. Being skilled is not the same as being sellable. The delivery trap looks like this. You spend 80% of your week executing. You take every client who shows up because saying no feels dangerous. You undercharge because you're still operating from a place of gratitude. You're still grateful because someone pays you at least and it covers the bill. But bhai, let me tell you, this is not a business. That's approval seeking with invoices. And most freelancers don't have a pricing problem. They have a self-esteem and self-respect problem. And the reason why you are stuck below $3,000 a month, it's not a market, it's not even your skills, it's a belief you're carrying that you haven't dealt with yet. See, the best agency owners I know don't sell services, they sell outcomes, and they walk into every call having already decided what it costs. So if you're facing this, let me tell you, it's not your fault. You have been trained to deliver. You have never been trained to sell. Now, let's address something else. As Indians, we have a politeness problem. And this is the exact habit that makes Western clients stop trusting you the second you say the price. There is something specific that happens to Indian agency owners on sales calls. I've lived it myself and watched hundreds of people living it as well. That moment where the conversations move toward price, the tone softens, the sentences get longer, qualifications appear. It depends on. Normally, you start managing their reaction before they even had one. And let me tell you why. That's not professionalism. That's the politeness reflex. And it's costing you every close it touches. And here's what's actually happening. A lot of Indian freelancers walk into calls subconsciously trying to earn approval instead of establish authority. We've been conditioned by culture, by years on platforms where the clients holds all the power, to associate directness with aggression, to see asking money as imposing, to read silence after a price as rejection. None of that is true in a Western business context. Politeness is free. Discounting costs you everything. In the Western market, directness is respect. When you state a price and stop talking, the client reads it as confidence. When you immediately follow your price with "but I can work with your budget," the client reads it as the price not being real. Western clients are not rewarding your humility. They are exploiting it. And that's not their fault. It's yours because you trained them to treat you that way. The market does not care how polite you are. It pays the people who sound certain. You can't close what you're afraid to quote. So I want you to understand this. The second mistake is softening the price before anyone pushed back. Now, let's talk about what I call the money moment. I'm gonna tell you why you freeze when price comes up and the 3-sentence structure that ends it. So here's what's actually happening in your body when a client asks you how much it costs. You are not doing a calculation. You are doing a social trait assessment, reading their tone, anticipating their reaction, running a probability model on whether they will say yes or no, all in about 2 seconds. And the number that comes out has been discounted by your fear before it ever leaves your mouth. That That number is not your price. It's your anxiety speaking. Here's the fix. Before any call, make one single decision in advance. The price is already decided. It's not a proposal. It's not an opening bid. I want you to write the number. And when they ask, you use this structure. 1, you state the outcome. 2, you state the investment. 3, you stop talking. And here's exactly what it sounds like. We install a system that gets you 10 to 20 qualified leads in a month, all within 60 days. And the investment for that is $3,000. You stop here. That's the entire script. The silence after that sentence is not your enemy. And I want you to understand this. Silence after a price is not rejection, it's consideration. Approval seeking is the most expensive habit in sales, especially for Indians. And see, for example, one of the guys in my free school community, Sangarsh, had a prospect call. He implemented exactly this, and he collected the full payment in 30 minutes. Look at his words. Incredible how a few techniques can yield such remarkable results. Same skills, same person, only using a different framework. The third mistake is treating your price as negotiation before anyone even negotiated. And I want to talk a bit about what I call the objection flip. One question beats 10 statements every single time. Every Indian agency owner I've worked with has the same response to objections. The client says that's a lot, and they just go into explanation mode. They talk about the process, they list all the things they're gonna do, they add bonuses, they even give discounts, and every single one of those responses signals the same thing. The price was flexible. Most agency owners don't have an objection problem. They have a reaction problem. When a client objects, don't defend. Ask, help me understand what is costing you right now to not have this solved. That one question, for example, does 3 things simultaneously. It stops the defensive spiral. It moves the client from evaluating your price to evaluating the cost of inaction. And it tells you whether the real issue is budget or belief. Clients can smell uncertainty before you finish the sentence. If you have an objection like, I need to think about it, you should be like, of course. What would you need to see to feel confident that this is the right decision? Let them tell you what's missing and provide exactly that, nothing more. Every discount you give is a tax you pay for being afraid. Just have a look at Vikram. He went from a freelancer who never had a high ticket conversation to $1,500 a month with one retainer client. He walked in prepared, he walked in certain, and when they pushed back, he asked instead of explained. So I want you to understand that as an Indian freelancer, the fourth mistake you're making is defending the price instead of redirecting to the cost of the problem. Now, let's call about the 2-call fix. I made an entire video of this, the 2-call code structure. I strongly recommend you go and watch that video after this one, and you will get the entire framework. When you have a meeting with a client, the first call should be the diagnostic. No pitch, no price, no deck. You just ask and you listen, and you book a second call. The second call should happen within the 48 hours. And between those 2 calls, you just need to build a short audit document where you will have their current situation in their own words, your diagnosis, your solution. And you want to open the second call with what stood out to you, and you let them sell themselves. And then you walk them through the solution, how you can help, how you can fix the problem, the time it's going to take, the involvement, the price, and then you stop talking. The reason why this works for the mindset problem specifically is because when you split the calls, you remove the pressure to perform on the first one. You stop trying to impress and you start trying to diagnose. And the client can feel that shift. And by call 2, they've been thinking about working with you for 48 hours. The close happens before you say the number. Try this on your next calls and share what happens inside the free school community. Oh, and by the way, quick pause. The HTC formula is specially designed for operators who are done freelancing psychologically. Inside this free school community, you will get my complete sales system, my 2-call framework, the objection scripts, the pricing structure, the AI delivery setup. Click the link in description, answer 3 questions, and you get an instant access to this private community all for free. Now, back to the video. I want to touch a bit on who you become on the other side of this. When you implement all this, you stop sounding like a freelancer hoping for approval and start sounding like a specialist evaluating whether the client qualifies for your help or not. And that's the identity flip. And it changed everything. Not just the close rates, but the type of client who shows up, the conversations you have, the price you quote without a second thought. And here's the connection most people miss. Confidence in sales is directly linked to certainty in delivery. When you're not sure your work will be excellent, you unconsciously underprice just to manage your own anxiety. When your delivery system is world-class, when AI runs the reporting, produces the first drafts, handles the analysis, you walk into the call with evidence, not hope. In today's age, AI removes operational insecurity, and operational insecurity is one of the biggest hidden drivers of sales insecurity. The agency owner who walks into a call all, in 2026, with an AI-powered delivery system, a documented process, and a closing framework, doesn't look like a vendor. They look like a specialist who has done this before, has proved it works, and genuinely doesn't need the specific client to say yes. That energy closes more than any script. See dostum, I have Indian roots. I built my career in Europe. I know exactly where the freeze come from. It's not weakness. It's conditioning, and conditioning can be replaced faster than you think. Low prices are usually emotional, not strategic. And the moment you understand that, everything changes. See, the Indian mindset you're in says deliver great work, the client will be happy and money will follow. The owner mindset I want you to be in says deliver great work and ask for what it's worth without having to apologize for it. That's the only gap between where you are right now and what you're trying to achieve. If you're an Indian operator selling to the West, this is the game. Keep your delivery world class and charge what it's worth. State the price, stop talking, let them respond. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. If you have any question, drop a comment. And when we hit 5,000 subscribers, I'll be doing a live draw. One subscriber will win a one-on-one mentorship session with me, plus the latest MacBook Air. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.